Om. 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 श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। अभिषेक जी, Abhishek is part of the Kalpataru offline classes. We are also doing chapter 11 there, so for him it will be a bit of a revision. So good that you are joining. This is you can participate here, but I want you to now chant the Dhyana shlokas. We'll start with the Dhyana shlokas. Please start.
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोस्तु ते
नमोस्तुते
व्यास विशाल बुद्धे कुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्र नेत्र
व्यासविशालबुद्धिर्मदायतपत्रनेत्र
येन त्वया
येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनि कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरं करा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवे रणनदी कैवर्तकः केशव पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैर्हरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So we were on verse number 16 and verse number 17 was supposed to be homework. So Vinaji, we can start with you since you remembered that you have to do homework.
Yes, sir.
Chaliye,
But my
bataiye.
knowledge is so limited. No, I cannot think beyond certain limit.
Doesn't matter. See, if you
So
say you are
here,
limited, hold on. If you say you are limited, you will always be limited. If you say I am Brahman, you become unlimited. So never put a
that is
limitation
not
on yourself.
possible.
Never put a limitation on yourself. Your mind, your body, and your intellect will do what you want it to do. So go ahead.
Illusions argue
Yes.
for your limitations, and sure enough,
Yes.
they're yours.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Vinaji.
He is completely shocked with seeing the Vishnu's Rupa, and he is thinking that he's taking different form of the Krishna in his Vishwarupa Darshana, and in this he's seeing all the weapons in that it contains everything from his uh, what you call from small uh, I'm sorry, sir, but he's seeing everything in the Vishnu in that Rupa. Whatever
Okay.
he has seen in the past, everything here in that one Rupa, he is seeing everything in the Vishnu that Rupa.
Okay, very nice. Uh, Anybody else? We are doing verse number 16, 17. Abhishek ji. Parthada, any thoughts?
You had told us that imagine you are in the middle of Pacific Ocean on a small boat. How do you feel seeing the immensity of the ocean? That was your question.
Correct.
You are comparing with Arjuna's position that when he saw the immensity of Lord Krishna, the Vishwarupa, how insignificant, how small he felt himself. So, drawing this analogy, two things come to my mind. One is yes, the feeling of insignificance, feeling of smallness definitely comes. That I am so small, and how I was questioning the immensity of the ocean without knowing. That's one. The other one, I think the feeling that comes is, well, I may be a drop of water, I may be a small river, but I'm going to get merged into the ocean, and this is the ocean, a part of which I am. So that feeling also comes, that I am also a part of this large
Very
thing,
nice.
vast thing.
Very
Both
nice.
the things come in mind.
Okay. Raghuji, any thoughts?
So, in this section, up to this point, he's talking about, like Minaji said, the seeing all the. Sita, can you please turn the TV down, please? Sita, can you please turn the TV down? Yeah. So, he sees all the different beings from small, big, and all that. As he goes on further beyond verse 17, he also talks about the devas, everybody there, the asuras, everybody there present in that vision. He also starts seeing things that are not yet happened. Like he sees his cousins being crushed and eaten. So obviously that has not yet happened. They're still alive in front of him. So at this point, time is starting to vanish. There is past and present please Sita, TV கொஞ்சம் அணைச்சிடுமா or reduce it சொல்றேனா. So time is also vanishing, and this is for me that is a bit of an epiphany, because we are focusing about space and beings and everything which is in 3D space. We always take time for granted. But now when time itself vanishes, it kind of made me realize, of course, it has to, because time itself started only after the creation of the universe. So to see Vishwarupa, you have to realize that time itself should not be there. It is a being that is beyond time also. And for me, that was kind of, it gave me goosebumps.
Okay. So first we'll start off with a sort of personal comment here to you specifically, Raghuji. The TV is a distraction only if your mind is over there. Right? So, see, we must... I'll give a very simple... Okay. Why is the internet addictive? Think about this. Why is the internet addictive? No.
It keeps
Distraction.
Sorry?
It's a big distraction.
Why?
Because
Why?
it
Why is it a
continuously-
distraction? Why is it a distraction? Why is a book not a distraction?
Easy dopamine hit. Biology.
No. See, in the book, you control the information flow.
Okay. Even
While
here
in
you
the-
do, na? Even here you do. Even here you are going... You are the one who is flicking through the Instagram feed. See,
But it pops up also.
the internet flickers the way your mind flickers. The book is linear. You cannot go to page 100, then go to page 19, then go to page 144 and make any sense out of whatever is happening. The book is a linear progression. So it requires an application of mind and redirection of the mind in a flow where it is not used to. So even when you are reading a book and you are trying to bring concentration into the book, you are making your mind trained. Whereas when you are reading, flipping through the Instagram, it's a beautiful synergy for the mind and the Instagram because both are flickering at the same frequency. So you're creating beautiful resonance, right? That's what happens, isn't it? When two frequencies match, that's the physics term for it, right? Raghuji? Resonance. So you get resonance. That's why you get addicted, because it's doing exactly what your mind wants. So, Swami Vivekananda used to say, meditation does not require you to have a silence, because you have to become silent, not your surroundings. And that is why he used to praise householders who could meditate. Sadhus, it's very easy. Go to the Himalayas, sit in the Valley of Silence. There's a place called Mayavati. I don't know if you have ever heard of it. Mayavati is an ashram founded by Swami Vivekananda. It's in above Rishikesh. It's actually above Nainital, so between the two. And it's in a peculiar valley which has an immense stillness. It's a very odd stillness. I mean, it's not just physical. There's a sort of vibration which is also still. I mean, it's a oxymoron. A vibration which is still is a odd combination of words, but it's a vibrant stillness. And there is a story of a particular monk who was meditating over there, and he has written back to the president that in my deepest meditation, I started hearing a very odd pounding, dum, dum, dum going on. So I looked out, I went out, I started searching for this source of noise. And then I realized it was my own pulse. See, attuning yourself to that silence becomes easier when you are in such a surroundings. To be controlling the inputs, isn't that what we are talking about in the Kathopanishad analogy of the chariot? The chariot is the body, right? We have done this many times, so I'm just not going to explain this. The chariot is the body, the horses are the indriyas, the road is the sense objects. the reins are the manas, and the charioteer is the buddhi. You are the passenger. Correct? Unless you give direction properly to the intellect, who will then control the manas, who will then control the indriyas, you are going to have durashva. So, having this process, what do we, and you know what the Kathopanishad very beautifully then puts down, what are you supposed to do with all of these? So he says that with these senses, you need to train them, just exactly as you train a horse. And train it to do what? You take back control over what you have lost control over. You have lost control over your ears, so they are taking in inputs from all places. You have lost control over your eyes, they are seeing everything. You have lost control over your tongue, and therefore you want sweet, but you don't want bitter. You have lost control, and you need to take back control. That is what Yamadharmaraj is talking to Nachiketas. When I say you, I'm talking of between the two, right? I mean, that applies obviously to all of us. So, when you go back to this particular analogy that we were talking about, in that raft, you are there, and also think that you don't know swimming, and you don't have a life raft, life vest, and you are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where there is nothing around you except the horizon, and the horizon itself also has merged with the water. There is bound to be fear. There is bound to be fear. Unless, see what Parthoda said, that he experienced that feeling that, oh, I am just that drop, and I know I am the drop, but I will ultimately merge into that ocean. That requires us to do that manan and understand that. Now, Arjun cannot, because Arjun has not had that time for doing that manan. So he's obviously going to have only the negative side, which is that fear. I am losing myself. I am losing myself, right? I remember a talk of, I don't remember the name of the Swamiji, from the mission, Chenmay mission. I don't remember the name. He was talking about his own experience, and he was saying, when I used to sit down and start meditating, I would find that my mind has dissipated and become very thin. And I used to feel very shaky, and I would try to draw it back. Right? That process, because I identify with the mind, and I'm feeling that I am losing it. I'm losing it. And therefore, you want to gather it back. That identification break is what actually, for that matter, and in terms of what Raghuji, you also mentioned, is that sudden understanding that there is only the now. The past has already gone. And if I live in it, I am living regrets, I am living all sorts of other things, or the future is not yet happened, and therefore there is only the present. Now, if there is only the present, and time is a construct of the mind, I'm not talking of getting into a debate between relativity, physics, and all that. I'm talking of the subjective experience of time that you are experiencing at this point of time is a construct of your mind. And the best example of that is when we go to sleep. You go to sleep, you wake up, you have lost count of time. Today, what happened is I went to finish. Okay, so I went to sleep very late yesterday. Very late is I normally sleep at about 1:30. I went to sleep at about 2:30, and because I had some client work to complete and so on and so forth. And then I woke up at my usual time at 3:30. Now, if I don't get my normal 3 hours of sleep, my body starts acting up and doing things. So I went to take a nap, and I actually lay down. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I had a very strange feeling that it was 4 o'clock in the evening. Right? I looked at my watch, it had only half an hour had passed. I slept only for half an hour. But this very strange feeling, 4 घंटा हो गया, 4 बज गया होगा. मेरा class है. Now, that time came into being the moment my mind awoke. Till that point of time, there was no mind. And therefore, there was no time. Now, just imagine Arjun. He has never experienced this. He's not trained for it. And he's been put into it. He's bound to feel fear. So, right now, he's describing what he's talking and seeing, which we are going through. And we have to understand that at the back of his mind, this is playing continuously, even in the words of the description. Verse 17. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha. Tejo rashim sarvato deeptamanantam. Deeptamantam. Tejo rashim sarvato deeptamantam. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha. Tejo rashim sarvato deeptamantam. Pashyami tvam durniriksham samantat. Pashyami tvam durniriksham samantat. Deeptanalarkadyutimaprameyam. Deeptanalarkadyutimaprameyam. Pashyami tvam durniriksham samantat. Deeptanalarkadyutimaprameyam. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha. Tejo rashim sarvato deeptamantam. Pashyami tvam durniriksham samantat. Deeptanalarkadyutimaprameyam. Kiritinam with a crown. Gadinam with a gada. Chakrinam with multiple chakrinam.
That is also over, sir. You have explained the meaning of the word.
Okay, very good. So what we have to look for is Deeptanalarka Dutiyam Aprameyam. Right? Aprameyam means we are looking at immeasurable. Meyam. Meya is the act of measurement. Prameya, the act of correct measurement. Aprameyam, yeah, immeasurable. So let us look for verse number 18. Now this is a very interesting verse. Twamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Twamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Twamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Twamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Twamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Twamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Twamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Twamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Twamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Twamaksharam paramam veditavyam. Twamasya vishwasya param nidhanam. Twamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta. Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. Tvam aksharam. Aksharam, that which cannot perish. That which does not have kshay. Paramam, supreme. Veditavyam, worthy of being known. That which should be known. That which is worthy of being known. Tvam asya, of this. Vishwasya, creation. Param nidhanam. Nidhana is the support. You are the support of this entire universe. Tvam avyayaha. Avyayaha, that which does not change. That is eternal. Shashvata dharma gopta. Eternal Shashvata dharma is, there are two ways to look at this. Shashvata, separate, and your dharma gopta. Shashvata means, again, eternal, always existing, and dharma gopta, protector of the dharma. Protector of dharma. The word gopta, goptru, the word goptru has two meanings. One, protector, and the other, concealer, he who conceals. Both meanings are applicable, possible, but here in this particular context, we have to obviously understand it as protector. Now, there is another way of looking at it, saying Sanatana Dharma Gopta. You are the protector of the eternal religion. Right? Both meanings make sense. We can look at it whichever way we want. Sanatana Purusho Matome. You are the Purusha. You are the Purusha. We have looked at the word Purusha earlier in chapter 8 and 9. He has explained the word Purusha, and then in Sankhya, we know that Purusha and Prakriti are the two realities that Sankhya talks about. And Purusha here is the consciousness. Prakriti is the tools or the material with which Purusha functions. The word which we need to understand is Veditavyam, that which is to be known. What is it that is to be known? Why is Arjuna saying, Tam paramam veditavyam? You are what is worthy to be known. What is the meaning of this? What is your thought? Abhishek ji, this is revision for you. You can also contribute.
I missed this class.
Oh, very nice. You asked the question that, sir, I was absent. What is
Because
Veditavya?
he's realized that there's nothing which is bigger than this. So if one knows this, one, let's say, knows everything, right? So
Okay.
hence this is what one has to know.
Okay, very good. Arthada, any thoughts? Veditavyam, that which is worthy of being known.
It appears to me that Arjuna has realized his folly, that in spite of all the teachings Krishna gave, he forced Krishna to show his universal form, which I said even earlier also. I never agreed with Arjuna to tell his guru that you show me your prowess before I accept you. But finally, when Krishna showed his total radiance, Arjuna was dazzled. So he tries to convey the meaning that once I have known Ishvara, once I have realized Ishvara, I have attained my goal. So he is making that admission that knowing the Supreme is as much as attaining his goal of realization.
Okay. Veena-ji? Veena-ji?
Yes, sir.
Any thoughts? Veditavyam, that which is to be known. What do you mean by what is to be known? Raghuji, your thoughts?
So he is basically he's realizing that the vision in front of him is that ultimate goal, the supreme being that has to be realized. So he's kind of acknowledging, okay, what I'm seeing here is what I must eventually get to know. He recognizes he doesn't quite know it yet. And he says it is definitely worthy. That is the goal of the entire exercise. That's what I think he is saying.
Okay. So, in 3 of the Upanishads, in Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, and Mundakopanishad, one line is repeated. Ya etad viduramritaste bhavanti. Ya etad, that with knowing which vidura amritaste bhavanti, you become immortal. Knowing that, you become immortal. This is one beautiful line. Right? Ya etad vidurasamritaste bhavanti means if I understand that I am immortal, realizing that I become immortal is that by that knowing of that immensity. So, this is the only thing that is worth knowing. Knowing this, you know everything. In the Chandogya Upanishad, where we have that Tattvamasi repeated so many times, the father has asked the son, have you known that by which everything can be known? He came back, the son came back, he came back from Cambridge or he came back from MIT with that heavy head, right? And like all graduates from great universities, when they come back, when the father is only a BCom, so says, dad doesn't know anything. Now dad sees this boy and he says, okay, now this boy has come back with a heavy head. We need to lighten something over here. So he says, okay, have you finished your graduation? Yes, dad, I finished my graduation. And have you learnt everything? Yes, dad, I've learnt everything. So tell me, what is it knowing which you will know everything? Huh? I have not heard about this. My teachers didn't tell me this. And that's where he begins. the journey, leading to that you are, that you are, that you are, so on and so forth. So, knowing that that is the only thing to be known. And I'll come to you, Raghuji. See, I look at these lives of these people. Look at Ramana Maharshi. Look at Sri Thakur. Unlettered in the scriptures, right? At the age of 13, at the age of 7, at the age of 8, or whatever Purva Abhyasa, Purva Janma Prarabdha, whatever it was, in this life that we know of, they attained. And with no formal education, they learned how to pick up languages, they learned how to deal in languages, they started spouting the eternal truths of the Vedas directly, from direct personal experience. That is a living proof of what the Vedas are talking. Ya etad vidura samrita ste bhavanti. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you keep mentioning there are no coincidences. Just yesterday, I was hearing a pravachan by Dushyant Sridhar, where he proves line by line the things mentioned in the Purusha Suktam, which is basically part of the Vedas, is actually repeated in Vishnu Sahasranama, which is part of Mahabharata. And it was quite revealing because, when you are giving your explanations, you quote the different Vedas a lot, different Upanishads and all that. But actually, he was going line by line and talking about, Chandrama Manaso Jataha Chaksho Suryo Ajay. So
Correct.
the same thing is there in a slightly different wording, but exactly same meaning in Vishnu Sahasranama. So of course, that was the intent of Vedavyasa, to capture the wisdom of all the Upanishads in this one magnum opus. Okay. But I didn't realize it is so one-to-one.
Correlated, yes. See, Shankara Bhashya, if you read Shankara Bhashya of Vishnu Sahasranam, you will actually get that. Because, do you know about how the Shankara Bhashya was written? So it's the first work. Shankara Bhashya of,
Yes.
it is the first work of Acharya.
Yes.
Written under the direction of his guru. So he's 8 years old. He went there. Acharya asked him, "Who are you?" So he said, "Mano Buddhi Nahamkara." Right? He repeated the entire Nirvana Shatakam as the first introduction to himself, to his guru. So you can imagine at what state of existence this 8-year-old boy is. Then he spent 6 months there with his guru. And he went and this is from Vidyaranya's Shankara Digvijaya. Vidyaranya has written a Shankara Digvijaya. And in that, the story appears. So Vidyaranya says, he went to his guru and said, "Can I start writing some bhashya on the Upanishads?" What? Upanishads? 8.5 years old. Now, how do you tell your own student, "I'm going to give you one on the backside"? Right? So what do? You tell your student, no, you listen. You start with some easier work. You go and you write a bhashya on Vishnu Sahasranam. So Acharya took that as Guru Vakya, did his pranam, went, and 2 days later came back with a big poti. And he put it at his feet. "What is this?" So he said, "You told me to write the bhashya on Vishnu Sahasranam. Here is the bhashya." "Okay, you keep it over there." Okay. Then his Govindapad, Sri Govindapad then thought, Okay, let me just read it. He must have written some kachara. He must have written Ram Ram. When we were in school and you had a question answer paper to fill up and you didn't know what to write, you would write Ram 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 and fill up all paper, right? Or some gibberish and you fill up paper. So he must have done something like that. So he picked up. And Bhagavad Govindapad spent 7 days in reading it 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days. He could not put the book down because every time he would read something and he would get into a deep manan. And then Govindapad came. This boy was meditating and he came over there. And Govindapad did namaskaram to Shankaracharya and said, "You are not my student, you are my guru." And Shankaracharya obviously did namaskar to Govindapad and worshipped him and so on and so forth, saying that you taught me humility and so on and so forth. And then he was freed from the ashram at the age of 8.5, where he started now going around the world. Around the known world at that point of time was India. And writing all the bhashyas on the Upanishads. Shankara Bhashya of Vishnu Sahasranam is a pure Advaitic work, correlating it to the Vedas directly. So I haven't heard this particular lecture by Dushyant Sridhar. I'll look for it. Or you can, if you have the link, you can send it to me. But it's a wonderful exposition. Shankara Bhashya itself is a wonderful exposition.
It was on Shankara TV, so I don't know if it has been captured on YouTube or anything. It was on Shankara TV, on the TV.
But he normally captures all of it on his channel and puts it, so I'll look for it. Was it in Tamil or English?
It was in Tamil.
Okay.
He keeps getting into English words, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
So, yeah. So, okay. So now, Veditavyam, that knowing that by which I know everything. Knowing that by which I actually understand, realize that I have become immortal. I am immortal. Yes. Yes, Partha.
Can you please elaborate on the meaning of knowing? What is meant by knowing? Now, suppose
Okay.
I have to know Ishvara, I have to know Krishna, and I believe in Krishna. So what
Very
is the
nice.
difference between believing and knowing?
Very nice. I'm going to use a very, very drastic example, and I hope you will not get offended by it. Do you believe that you will die? Do you know death?
I don't know the time, but I
Do
know
you
that I
know?
will die.
Do you know death? Do you know death?
I don't know death. Yeah.
Right? Simple. That's it. So knowing is that experiential reality. Knowing is that experiential reality of what it is. Whereas understanding or believing comes from an intellectual relationship. Right? So my intellectual relationship very clearly tells me that I cannot be the body, I cannot be the mind, I cannot be the intellect. Intellectually, I fully understand that. But right now, if somebody comes and gives me a slap, will I feel the pain? Will I feel the pain? See, I'm saying,
No.
I'm using it. But what will my mind say? I have felt pain. Right? What will my emotion happen? Anger. What will my intellect say? Apamana. My body, mind, intellect identification does not allow me to realize the fact that this slap that happened only happened to the body. It had nothing to do with my mind. It had nothing to do with the intellect. It had nothing to do with me. So while I understand it, I don't realize it. I'll give a very beautiful example of the present. Okay, Kanchi Kamakoti Pitham, which is the fifth Pitha established by Shankaracharya. Disputes around that are there. We'll not get into those controversies. But the new Pithadipati, Uttaradhikari, has been appointed. He's the 71st. Uttaradhikari or of the particular Pitha. The 69th Pitadipati was a person called Jayendra Saraswati. Jayendra Saraswati had come to Calcutta, and he had preempted the entire school. There was a school over there called National High School, which is a Tamil school, and he had occupied the entire school. The courtyard had an elephant, they had cows, they had brought the horse and everything over there, so that the morning Ashwa Puja, Go Puja, Hasti Puja all could be done. The Chandramaulishwar was established in the hall, and all that was done. And he would be sitting in a room, in a classroom. They would put a bench in front, where so that people would jump. You know how people are, right? They will go and jump and hug and catch hold of the feet and all that. So that does not happen. There was a barrier, and my duty was to stand there and keep the line moving. Keep the line moving. Otherwise, there would be a lot of people lining up. And Jayendra Saraswati was an Shankaracharya, and also somewhat politically inclined in some ways. So there were a lot of politicians also coming. So there would be a lot of disruption in the line and all that. So there was necessity for line control. I was standing there, and one person came and he did a namaskar, and he said, Guruji, please tell me, how can I get rid of my desire for possessions? Now, intellectually, this person obviously understands that the desire for possessions is wrong. Right? Possessions by themselves are not wrong. The desire for possessions are wrong, and he has placed the question very beautifully. Please tell me how to get rid of the desire for possessions. Should I take sannyasa? Now, he has come with the conclusion that by taking sannyasa, he will get rid of this particular. What Acharya did was, he looked at me and said, where is my dandam? Where is my dandam? Where is my dandam? And he started getting so excited about it. Where is my dandam? Where is my dandam? Is the dandam was just next to him? Right? And he started literally making a huge furor about it. And then he suddenly became silent and started looking at this person. And he said, have you understood? By taking sannyasa does not mean that you get rid of mind. Mera dandam. I'm holding on to my dandam as my symbol of sannyasa or whatever it is. So sannyasa is in the mind. Now that control of that mind, to be able to move away from just understanding to realization, is sadhana. Understanding is study. Understanding is adhyayan. You study, you will get understanding. Moving understanding to realization is called sadhana. That's realization, knowing, whatever, illumination, enlightenment, whatever words we want to use. Those are all words. That shift in state comes from sadhana. I hope I've answered your question, Partha. Yes, Raghuji.
Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, this exact question, difference between belief and believing and knowing, I read a very nice, humorous example for that. A pastor was giving his Sunday sermon, and it was exactly precisely on this topic, that he was struggling to be able to explain to the people what is the difference between believing and knowing. At that time, the John, his wife Mary, and son Charles walked in and sat down. John being the husband, wife being Mary, and son Charles. So he said, John believes that Charles is his son, only Mary knows. Because she has experience, she knows.
So for that matter, I mean, on the same lines, very beautifully, this happened actually in a very famous case. This is about property, and large amounts of property are involved. You would have remembered Dr. Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, one of the famous chief justices of, and he made a very interesting statement. This case went right up to the Supreme Court. He was the chief justice, and because of the amount involved in appeals and all that, ultimately went there, and he made this statement saying, maternity is certainty, paternity is speculation. So I mean, it very very clearly explains the difference. Experiential reality. When we say experiential reality, and which is why I quite often tell people, what is realization? What is this? What is that? It is all theoretical discussion that we are having. Rather than that, what is my experience? It's not in your experience. Get to what your experience is and build that. And the only way to do it is to keep on purifying, keep on purifying, keep on purifying. There is no answer other than that. Sri Thakur's example of the lota being cleaned with the tamarind and ashes to make it shine like gold. That is the only way. Continuous sadhana. Right. So Veditavyam, we have understood that. Yes, Parthada.
I did not want to ask any question. I only wanted to say that this doubt came in my mind because it may take me several births to know. But if I believe, it ends there. If I go by the teachings of Lord Krishna and I believe wholeheartedly in that, then
Very
I
good.
make the beginning.
Very good. Very good. Good. See, you have to understand one thing. You understand. Okay, what is the difference between Vichara, the Advaitic path, and that is the Jnana Marga and the Yogic Marga? What is the difference?
Jnana Marg and Yogic Marg.
The path of yoga.
Actually, I don't see much difference because
They're very different. The approach is very different. The approach is very different. See, Advaita, yes, Raghu, you want to say something?
Yeah, so Jnana Marga is to get to the knowledge by logic, by reasoning, while in yoga, you're becoming one and experiencing, and that's how we're getting to know.
No.
So in yoga,
While
the Ashtanga, so you do the 8 practices.
Those are all methods. The difference is in Advaita, the approach is by shifting the paradigm of existence itself by saying you are not the body, mind, and intellect. You are the eternal truth. Right? Whereas in yoga, the destination is not known to me. So what do? I do chitta vritti nirodha. Right? Sutra number 2, verse 4. So chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. That is what Patanjali says. So chitta vritti, controlling the mind. Now, both paths have dangers. Both paths have dangers. Chitta vritti nirodha is not very easy. And you don't know the goal. You are told chitta vritti karo, chitta vritti karo, chitta vritti karo. Why? I don't know the goal. I have no understanding of the goal. Vichara, which is the yoga path, the Advaitic path, Jnana Marga, very clearly gives you the goal. Does not have a methodology, accepting questioning. So Raman Maharshi's question, who are you, is the only method that is available to you. Again, that is very, very difficult. So what did Sri Ramakrishna do? Ramakrishna ji did a very interesting thing. He bridged this and he put in devotion in the middle. And he said, the means, the methodology, and the goal, they are all the same. But you, because you are in different stages, you are not able to see them. So get into that path through the devotion. It becomes easier. It becomes easier. That is the beauty of the avatar. Whenever he comes now, he caters to the specific need of that time. That is why he says, Sri Krishna says, na, abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever the adharma does not mean no, those asuras will come. No asuras, all asuras are inside us only. Right? Those doubts, those questions, to that point of time, it's a beautiful bridge. Now you take whatever form you want. You worship that form completely with that, even with the thought that it is limited. It doesn't matter. And when you approach it the unlimitedness of that form becomes apparent to you. Sri Thakur was once doing the puja of Ma Bhavatarini, and he was putting on the thread, the sacred thread. Now, as per ritual, there is the sacred thread to be offered to the deity. It doesn't matter whether it is a female deity or a male deity, it doesn't matter. Actually, the sacred thread is offered. The person who was coming with a sort of limited knowledge, and he started saying, how are you offering a thread to a woman? Thakur turned around and said, I am so grateful that I have met you, that now you know that she is a woman. I have not yet been able to figure out whether she is man or woman. When you are at a distance, you are seeing that as a woman. When you come closer, those illusions will vanish. So the path of devotion is it's a wonderful path. Beginning with small rituals, even if you have not applied your mind, but you keep doing it, the mind will change. Today, Western science calls it neuro-linguistic programming. We used to say, bachpan mein, sit down, do your japa. Why am I doing japa? I don't know. Do your japa. Keep the image of your God in mind. Sit in front of the shrine. See this Gopal. Think of this Gopal and do your japa. That's all. You had no idea of what is happening. But what happened? You were a stone thrown into the river. All the jagged edges slowly become round. So that is the beautiful synthesis that was created by Thakur. Obviously, then that got converted into a far more structured approach in the methodology which was put down by Swamiji in the form of Raja Yoga. His entire text called Raja Yoga, if you can download it, it's available, you should read, which is basically a synthesis of all these three, all the paths. And then he added one flavor. And he said, all of this will not work until your ego is subsumed, and therefore you add karma to it. And you do karma with the idea of saying, I am doing this as service for others, not for myself. I am not the doer. So the karma, and therefore he has a statement which says that the mission, you know that the mission and the mat are different. The mission has been established for the sole purpose of teaching karma yoga to the monks of Ramakrishna mission. The fact that they managed to do some social service is a byproduct. The aim was not to serve humanity, it was to serve yourself, and through serving humanity. So that is the synthesis. So let us look at verse number 19. Anadimadhyantam ananta vidyam. Anadimadhyantam ananta vidyam. Anantabahum shashi surya netram. Anantabahum shashi surya netram. Anadimadhyantam ananta vidyam. Anantabahum shashi surya netram. Pashyami tvam deepta hutashavatram. Pashyami tvam deepta hutashavatram. Swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. Swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. Pashyami tvam deepta hutashavatram. Swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. Anadimadhyantam ananta vidyam. Anantabahum shashi surya netram. Pashyami tvam deepta hutashavatram. Swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. Anadim madhyam anantam, without beginning, middle or end. Ananta, infinite. Viryam, power. Ananta, unlimited. Bahum, arms. Shashi surya netram, eyes of moon and sun. Pashyami, I see. Tvam, you. Deepta hutasha vaktram. Deepta is blazing. Hutasha means coming from. Hutasha, coming from, emanating from, vaktram. So fiery mouths. Swatejasa, by your own radiance. Vishwa idam tapantam. You are warming this entire universe by your own radiance. Rest of it is very simple. Anadi madhyantam ananta viryam ananta baham shashi surya netram. These are all easy to understand. The last line in this, we need to dwell a little more. Swatejasa vishwamidam tapantam. What does this mean? Yes, please.
So one way to look at this is your tejas, Vishwamidam Tapantam, you're burning up this universe. Now, tejas could be also, it's knowledge. So through knowledge, this entire universe vanishes. That's one way I'm reading this line.
Okay. Any other thought? See, what is the indication of life? What is the indication of life? How do you know?
Brightness,
Sorry?
brightness,
Brightness,
Movement.
light.
light, movement. When you are in deep sleep, there is no light, there is no movement, there is no brightness. What is the indication of life?
Breath.
Okay. Breath also can become very still, warmth. The temperature of the body, right?
Yeah.
The temperature of the body, warmth. So when he says that Vishwamidam tapantam, he is saying that life itself originates from you. Life here means not only life as in the physical form of life, but consciousness. Maya sarvam idam tatam, maya tat sarva tita, maya idam sarvam tatam, he said in chapter 9. Right? I have pervaded this entire universe. When he says, I have pervaded this universe, that is exactly what he's repeating here. Arjuna is now repeating and saying, it is your consciousness that is making this world radiant. It is you. Right? The rest of it is okay. We can understand. But when what we say he's warming, it does not mean that, oh, because he's glowing and he's hot, the rest of the world is also feeling hot. Right? There's no heat here. We are talking about life. We are talking about consciousness. And saying that it is your radiance, it is you. And see, this is the Advaitic view very clearly, where we say that in Advaita, what we say? That this world is non-different from the maker of the world. The Semitic religions have a very, very distinct view of saying, not only Semitic religions, even the Dvaitavad also have a very clearly distinct view of saying there is a maker and there is the made. The maker and the made cannot be one. The potter cannot become the pot. Right? That is the basis of Dvaita. Whether you look at it from Islam, whether you look at it from Christianity, Judaism, or Dvaita. What happens is, when you go deeper, you realize that the potter and the pot are linked with a particular thing. What is that thing that is linking the potter and the pot? The two karanas, upadana karana and nimitta karana, the material cause and the intelligent cause. There needs to be a materiality. The mud has to be there. Otherwise, the potter is useless. What will the potter do without the mud? Now, this makes a limitation on the potter. Because it says, oh, the potter may be very, very nice. He may be a great potter, but without the mud, he cannot function. So are we saying, therefore, that the potter is limited by the mud that he has available to him in terms of the divine potter? Now they're saying, no, that can't be true. The divine potter is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, blah, blah, blah. Then in that case, the mud also has to be omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, so that the potter can work with it. Now you have moved from Dvaita to Vishishta Dvaita. And then you link it further and you say, the potter himself, in his own intelligence and his own mind and his own hands, converted the pot into created, got the pot into creation. He is nothing but the pot itself in a different form. Advaita. Now, Sanatana Dharma Shastras, they all begin at the highest level. Unfortunately, we can't understand that. In chapter 2, verse number 9, 11, in verse number 13, 14, he has already given the entire Gita. We couldn't understand it, so we go through 700 shlokas. We can't understand that, therefore we have to go through Swami Chinmayananda's commentary. We can't understand that, therefore we have to do classes and do manan. That whole process, it's our jadata, isn't it? But all Shastra starts off with that. Brahma Sutra starts off with what? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Finished. That's your life's goal. Finished. Chapter is over. In Chatushutri, in 4 sutras, he finished the entire Brahma Sutra. The rest of it is all explanation of that. Same way, in the historical world, Adi Shankaracharya came, right? Abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. He came in the form of Shankaracharya and gave you the highest knowledge. And you and I said, hey, Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya, how is all that possible? Thappad marne se to lagta hai, bhai. Bhook to lagti hai, ji. Right? Says, okay, don't worry. I'll come back. So 300, 400 years later, came back as the same date, on the same date. He came back as Ramanujacharya and explained the Vishishtadvaita. Even that we couldn't understand. So he came back as Madhvacharya and explained it in the Dvaita form. Now think of this. I think of myself as a drop of oil and and consciousness as the whole huge ocean. Will the drop of oil ever merge into the ocean? Right? You all agree? It can't merge. So what can it do? It can have samipya. It can have sarupya. It can look very similar to the water, but it will not be the water. And so on and so forth. But if you add an emulsifier, what will happen to the drop of water? We have mud specialists. We have fluid dynamic specialists with us. Raghuji, what will happen?
It breaks up and becomes miscible with the water.
Yes, it will mix with the water. Right? And now you oxidize it. What will happen? It will become water. That is the physical process. So what is the emulsifier? It is bhakti. I think of myself as different from the world. Add bhakti, you emulsify. And you become so close that you are merged with it. But you still have those sprinklings of identity. And now you do vichara. Finished. Story over. That is the journey. So, homework. Yes, you wanted to say something, Raghuji. So, homework, we will look at verse number 20. Dhyava prithivyor idamantaram hi. Dhyava prithivyor idamantaram hi. Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha. Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha. Dhyava prithivyor idamantaram hi. Vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha. दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं दृष्टाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् दृष्टाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयेकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्टाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् द्यावा पृथिवी. Prithvi and Dyaus is the name of the Deva. Prithvi is the female, Dyaus is the male. Dyava Prithvi is a combination, a pair. So Dyava Prithvi, heaven and earth. The idam, this antaram, the space between, he indeed, vyaptam, pervaded, tvaya, by you, ekena, alone, disha means directions, cha, and sarvaha, all, drishtva, seeing, adbhutam, wondrous, rupam, form, ugram, terrible, tava, your, idam, this, lokatrayam, the three worlds, pravititam, they are trembling, O greatest of all beings, Mahatmana. So he's saying, the space between heaven and earth in all the directions is pervaded by you alone. Seeing your wondrous and terrible form, I see that all the worlds are trembling in fear, O greatest of all beings. We need to do our manan on this particular shloka for the next class. Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om